So hey, we're back from our commercial break.
We have sponsors now.
Yeah.
It's ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
my mom.
Do you like comics? Do you like podcasts? Do we have the show for you?
Hello. Have you treated yourself to a nice seafood dinner recently? You need to treat yourself to a nice seafood dinner. You do you. Treat yourself. On us. For you. For yourself.
Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
Wednesday, when you're here.
Cheddar biscuits.
Cheddar biscuits.
Wednesday,
Docs, I love that show.
when you're here, your family.
I just so happen to
Yes.
have 2 coupons to the Red Lobster, honey.
God,
That's classy.
Oh Lord.
It was Cassidy. Wait, no, Classy was the South Park. Wasn't it? It was like champagne or something like that? Or no, Cristal.
I don't remember.
Yeah, the
We were so off topic. I'm so sorry.
That's the point of this episode. We're all over the place. We're wacky.
Yeah, wacky and crazy.
It's a wacky Wednesday.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll just do another intro just to be on the safe side. So, hey, Rob, the only person who listens to this show, in the event
Love you.
that the other intros didn't work, here's a new one for you. Welcome to Wednesday. My name is Paul, joined with Chandler and Jay. Previously, before we got all messed up with our recording, we were talking about comic books and relationships.
Yep.
And so, just sort of, man, I am really bad at this tonight.
Pretty
No,
much.
you're doing great, sweetie.
All right, so we've dated nerds. We've all dated nerds.
Right.
Oh, you married a nerd.
I
Have I
did.
dated
I
nerds?
did.
Have you dated
I did.
nerds?
No, not really. I feel like a lot of normal
I
people.
think. Well, okay. So here's the thing that I've always been curious about, because comic books, I mean, that is such a huge culture with a lot of history. It's just so ingrained with popular culture, and it's either like you read comics or you don't, and a lot of times people kind of hesitate about jumping into comics because they don't know where to begin. There's a lot of misconceptions, I think, being within the comic book community and without. So what's it like when or if you're dating someone who isn't into comic books and you are? Like, if it's like a hard act to juggle, like, because I'm fortunate where,
Right.
I've met someone who managed a comic book store, but looking back on times where I didn't, and just sort of how tricky it was to navigate, like constantly kind of having to kind of explain or justify your interests.
Well, that's one
I
of the
do wanna
wild
say-
things about
sorry, go
dating. Well, I'm just going to say it's a wild thing about dating is like, I don't know, when you find the right person, you shouldn't have to explain those things. They should just accept and be like, okay, yeah, cool. Unless it's like an actual problem and you're just like scratching your arm, like I haven't eaten in days, but I still need to get issue 332 of X-Men Origins.
That's extreme.
I need it. But like,
Yeah.
you're not sucking dick for fucking comic books on the street.
Jesus.
So like, if anything, it'd just be like, okay, so what are you reading? Oh, I'm just reading this. It seems pretty neat. Just like, okay, cool. Glad you're reading it. I don't know, with 2019 as a thing, my outlook is, and like, I got it a few months ago. There's a comedian, Daniel Sloss, on Netflix that like gave me a pretty clear outlook on how life should be for the most part. Which your life is a jigsaw puzzle, and that you don't have the picture to. So to make this jigsaw puzzle, you start with the 4 corners, which are like family, friends, hobbies and interests, and then your job or career. And you build the 4 corners differently as they come to you to make a picture, which the final image should just be like your happiness in general. But like some people try and make the centerpiece their partner and make them have to be their happy piece, and that piece of the puzzle doesn't fit, so they're getting rid of other pieces to try and make it fit. the more like influential that person becomes, and you shouldn't have to do that because then you're not going to be happy. You're getting rid of the things that do make you happy. So if anything, you should just meet someone, click, and be able to combine your puzzles together ultimately to make just a beautiful image. I mean, everyone's happy. Like the things that make people happy in life are different. Mine happens to be like anime and friends, whatever. Those are the things I primarily focus on. And now I'm just trying to find someone to be with that I can click with. And if I don't, then fuck it. I'm still happy. That's just me.
That's beautiful.
No, that's great. Yeah. I just wanted to backtrack a little bit and say, like, to Paul's earlier comment about like comic books having like a long history. I just want to say, like, comic books are still pretty, like, even they do have like, if they do have a long history, they were still pretty niche until very recently,
Right?
where it became more of like a mainstream thing. So like there are still like those misconceptions. People still think like comic books are for, children, or like they're like, super nerdy, but like it's turning around. So like I don't want to like kind of like not shit on like non-nerds, but like also kind of like give them a little bit of like be a little more understanding that like the general perception of like comic book culture to like the masses is still kind of negative.
Oh yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying, and I guess I'm always curious about, I guess, the pressure that can be felt on both sides about sort of kind of
Right.
Because whether you're into comics or not, the bottom line is you want to be accepted for who you are, and I think
Right.
because of coming into relationship with that pre-existing condition that's been kind of established by society of like, if you're into comics,
I feel like that's fading away though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like,
Definitely.
especially
Yeah.
post Marvel Cinematic Universe, like everyone cares about like, it's like nerd culture in general is becoming like so mainstream. Everyone wants to be a nerd about something, or like wants to have like nerd cred.
I hear it so often. Like I was at White's Bakery in Hingham, and this is a few years ago. I was trying to get a custom cake made for a One Piece flag, and the person was like, "Oh, what do you want done?" I was like, "Oh, just this image." She was like, "Oh, what's that?" I was like, "It's a kind of nerdy. I don't want to really describe it too much." She was like, "Oh, well, we're pretty nerdy ourselves. Like, we dress up like the Avengers for Halloween." I was like, "Okay, so this is from One Piece. This is the Jolly Roger for Trafalgar Law, and he's a pirate that is trying to get the treasure for One Piece. Are you familiar with this?" She was like, "No, I just kind of like the movies,
Wow, you're a nerd.
You're a real nerd.
Yeah. No, it's definitely come a long way, because I remember thinking back to, I guess as the elder of the group, you go back
Only by a little bit.
well, I'm thinking like
Back
2000.
in my day.
Yeah. Well, you look at 2002, let's say, I would say the tide's definitely turning, because you've had X-Men's been out. You've had your Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. We're in the middle of like the Lord of the Rings trilogy being released, and while I feel like it was kind of getting more culturally accepted, I still had a hard time like expressing my interest because like I feel like looking back at high school, everyone was just so focused on being like an adult. And I'm like, man, I just want to fucking enjoy this shit. So, like, I would rather kind of, like, be alone in the cafeteria reading Lord of the Rings than trying to, like, be like...
Get pussy.
Oh, I totally get that.
Yeah, like, then rather than being, like, a young professional, it's like, come on. It's like I'm 15, whatever. It's like I'm not... But I remember, like, just sort of awkwardly navigating, like... comics and sort of just kind of being with people who like didn't get it, like like they would be confused, like, wait, so if Stan Lee isn't writing comics, then who is? Like, it just seems weird that like there's like another writer coming in, and it's like, well, what if you don't like what that writer does with something that you've like been reading for years or whatever? And it's like, oh, well, that's the beauty of being a nerd. You get to piss and moan and whine about it, like, because
That's still a pretty insightful question for someone who's like not like, you know, I think like people should still at least like be understanding enough to be like, hey, this is your thing.
Right.
Like I think we've said multiple times on the show, like everyone's like a nerd about something.
Oh, totally.
Right.
So I think just having that kind of like base, like, you know, not my thing, but I get it, and that there's like a whole culture behind it. So
Right.
like I'm not gonna like give you a hard time about it.
I remember my mom asking me that, like, you know, and I think this was sort of like an intervention, where just like, you know, well, I mean, what kind of like partner do you want? Like, would she have to be like a nerd? And I was like, no, she doesn't have to be a nerd. I just need her to like, I need her to understand it. I just need this person to respect it. Like, this is what I love. This is like, you know, it's not, you know, just something that I like to do. I like to read, love to talk about, and like, and that's
It's something that gets you excited.
Right. And everyone has that for
Right.
something.
yeah. But I remember in my 20s, being on a series of dates, and I was really nervous about telling her I was into comics. Like,
Yeah, what kind of like what
so-
number date is that where you reveal that to them?
I know, it's like, well, let's see.
One.
One date.
For me, yeah. I can't hide it. I have tattoos.
I think that, well, first of all, I didn't work up the nerve to kiss this girl until way after, like, I don't know what date that was, probably like the 7th. It was so bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a gentleman.
Well, okay, so I can't read situations at all.
Same.
I'm married, and sometimes I can't tell if Angela's giving me the signal or not, you know? Like, so, you know, when I would go on, I was always under the assumption that, oh, this is my friend, and we're going to be friends, and it's going to be cool, and I'm getting to know this person, and if it doesn't work out, whatever, I've gained a new friend, you know? I always
There's
kind of,
nothing wrong with that.
oh no, totally. But I never entertained the idea that anybody would be into me. So when they would start
right.
when they would start making these hints, I wasn't picking them up as hints. So I remember in college, you know, like most college students, you're broke, and it was in the dead of winter in Boston, and you know, we both wanted to hang out, and I had said, hey, why don't you come over, we'll cook dinner, we'll watch a movie, you know, whatever, you know, no big deal. So a buddy of mine, his girlfriend, she was best friends with this person that I had been dating, and he was like, oh, I heard about Saturday night, and I'm like, yeah, just gonna come over and cook a dinner and watch a movie. He's like, yeah, okay, cooking dinner, watching a movie, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. He's like, dude, she's gonna be expecting sex, and I'm like, whoa, wait, what? No, is that like code? And I remember like, oh, I guess I offended Chandler. He left the group.
Just finish the story.
Okay, so I remember being so panic stricken about this date, and you know, like I remember like her coming over. Like I remember the date prior, I had worked up the nerve to kiss her on the cheek.
Okay.
And then when I next saw her, hey, buddy, high five, welcome to my apartment. And so, you know, like cook dinner, watch a movie. And I just kept thinking, like, am I supposed to do something now? Like, should I kiss her now? No, she looks pretty engaged by the cinematic plot. I mean, we're only into the second act, and I think she's really digging this, which is good because I really talked up this movie, and I want her to enjoy it, because if she doesn't enjoy it, then she's going to think I have lousy taste in movies, and God knows what other lousy things that I'll have taste in, and,
Right.
you know, so it was just going on and on and on in my head, you know, and then finally, you know, she was like, all right, well, I'm going to go. I'm like, okay. Like, so I'll be seeing you. It's like, yeah, I too will be seeing you someday
Right.
in life. Maybe I'll engage the next encounter, or maybe you will if you want. That's cool. You take care now. I'm dying alone. Okay then. And I remember, like, the next day getting the phone call and be like, dude, what the fuck happened last night? And I was like, dude, I don't know. I don't know. I was so nervous. I don't want to interrupt the movie. Was she expecting something? Yeah, she was. Well, listen, all I said was dinner and a movie. And that's what I provided. Right. So I don't know why I'm the bad guy right now.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, she should have realized that you're a nervous boy.
Oh, so nervous.
And like, but like your friend definitely didn't help by putting that in your head, because then you overthought the situation. And it could also be on her, because like there's a social stigma that the guy's supposed to initiate. Chicks totally can too.
Yeah, I
but
don't
like, if you're not comfortable with this, like, I don't know. I'm really realizing, as somebody that's single right now, kind of establishing information, because like, I don't know somebody's sticking situation. So at the end of the night, I'll just be like, hey, is it cool if like I kiss you or something like that? And then they'll be like, oh, of course. Or like, whatever. Or like, no, I'm not really feeling it. And I'll be like, okay, cool. Appreciate it. Had a good time. Hopefully we can stay in touch or something like that. Or like, yeah, no, it's cool. It's just like, peace out. And we'll figure out the situation as it comes to us. I don't know. That's a kind of a fucked situation, because I personally, as an individual, I also hate the idea of pre-planning sex.
Ugh, yeah.
That's like the weirdest thing. If somebody's like, hey, so, you know what today is? Wednesday? Yeah. You know, Wednesday is, right?
Hump day?
The release of comics? Yeah, that's true. But also, no one's at my apartment right now. Let's fuck. I'm not taking the situation. I really would like to enjoy my book. Nope. I want to fuck. This is the time that we're supposed to fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's Wednesday. Wednesday's always fuck night.
Oh, God, I can't do it. Like...
Nope.
Especially, well, I'm never really a big fan of like having to schedule stuff like that, because then I feel there's all this pressure.
It's weird.
I mean, on the one hand, yeah, you can prep, you can take a shower or whatever, but at the same time, it's like, you know.
Right, that's super different.
Chandler,
I am back
welcome
after
back.
some
I'm sorry
paranormal activity.
I'm sorry if my story offended you.
No, it offended the internet connection.
Apparently, my goodness.
Where were we?
I don't know, where were you, man? You went to the upside down.
We continued the conversation. We're talking about the awkwardness of pre-planning sex.
Glad I missed that part.
Yeah.
The build-up, at least.
Right.
But it's a very awkward thing. Like, the only time that like pre-planning sex is like an acceptable thing in my mind is if like you're actually trying to have kids, I guess.
Right. Your partner's ovulating, and you know, now's the time.
Whatever all that
Swimming
shit
upstream
has to do with, but like. It in general, you wine and dine, make it a nice night, get people in the mood if you want to fuck, whatever. But like, don't just be like, you know, oh yeah, we're fucking tonight because he's making me dinner, so I want to fuck tonight.
No,
because that's code.
Wait, what?
Like,
is that a real conversation?
Well,
are we watching Netflix? Are we gonna chill? Wink, wink.
Yeah. See, before the days of Netflix, you know, when I was inviting this girl over, we were literally sitting at my desk watching my Mac monitor, like watching a movie that way, you know. And so, you know, so if I wasn't prepared enough or confident enough or whatever to kiss this girl, I'm gonna tell her that, like, you know, I'm into comics. You know, like, and I remember, like, and I think on one of the days I finally, I brought her to Comicopia. I was like, so this is what I'm into.
This is who I am.
Paul, let me ask you this. Did you ever online date?
I have never online dated, and I think
fuck you.
I think
fuck
it's
you.
You survived.
I think it's good that I didn't, because I'll tell you why. I would be dead by now.
Yes.
I really, because I think that and again, this is
cancer.
It sounds like
wasteland.
It also sounds like that as well, but I think it sounds like it's a little superficial. You could kind of get judged by a picture.
Extremely.
So I'm pretty sure that if people saw me, I would get a lot of swipes to the left, because that means no, right? When they go left.
No, you're a good looking person. You take
it's all angles, man.
But yeah. So I just imagine a lot of no one getting back to me, and it would just crush my soul.
That's what happens to me for the most part.
Yeah.
Which it's like I said, my mindset is completely changed.
But it's also like warping. Yeah, like you said, it's like warping, like how you communicate with each other. It's like crazy.
It's cancerous.
No, it really is, and I don't envy the position that you guys are in. I'm pretty sure that if for whatever reason Angela and I, it didn't work out, I don't know. If I got into another relationship, it would probably just be somebody taking a sap and hitting me over the head with it and bringing me back to their basement.
Or you can join the church.
Oh God, no.
Meet a nice Christian woman.
Oh God, no. God,
agnostic for life.
God, if you can hear this one prayer, don't send me one of your bitches, please. I just couldn't do it.
All right, Chandler.
Come on, long denim skirts.
Oh God,
as far as
long denim underwear.
I'm sorry, what was that, Jay?
So Paul, you haven't online dated.
No.
So that changes the whole a lot of social stigmas and stuff like that. Chandler, because I don't know, I'll describe my online dating and stuff like that. Chandler, how's your online dating stuff and dating life in general go for you? How do you express your nerdity, I guess, if you do express it at all?
Well, as a full-time gay, it's a little different. I don't want to throw gay culture under the bus, but I will say that a lot of it with in terms of online and apps and stuff, it's a lot of it's geared towards hookups. Right. So you can use it for dating, but there's always that sort of pretense or underlying expectation of sex, even if you are dating. So right. It is a little challenging. Sometimes because you're kind of left in this state of not knowing if you really have a future with someone, if you'll see them again, because they'll kind of maybe just hook up with you, and then after that that's it. Or in some cases, surprisingly a lot of cases, they already have a partner and they're just kind of looking to get their rocks off or kind of double dipping. So
I've
it's
heard
annoying.
A lot of that from the Nicole Byer podcast.
Yeah, it gets annoying. I think with expressing nerdiness, it's a little bit different. I think with guys, just because guys are a lot less they're more shameless about it, and it's kind of hey, I'm a nerd, or I like sports. I think girls are a little bit more harder to get into the culture, just because they are kind of conditioned and socialized differently, I guess.
Right.
But it's at least with me, I've seen recently on the apps, it's kind of a badge, not of honor, but kind of a hey, I'm a nerd. You only have so much space right on your profile to catch someone's attention. Right. So you can definitely put I like Lord of the Rings, or into comics or video games, and you'll people like that. I mean, yeah,
and you can do it with photos and stuff like that too, which is
right.
Primarily
it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're hot, no one really gives a shit what you like. Right. So it's just whatever.
Well, I'm very diverse with my photos as far as online dating goes. Man, fuck it. We still have the website for now. Might as well just throw my online dating profile up there with this episode. Just screenshots of what I have. Not to rip off Nicole Byer's wonderful podcast, Why Won't You Date Me? But as far as Bumble goes, I have, let's see, my profile says, about me. I don't know what to say here. Into nerd stuff and chilling. Tattoos and piercings are cool. Maybe we can grab coffee or dinner sometime and have a fun conversation and see if we click. Because let's be real, online dating sucks and we both don't want to do it. Because from what I've heard in general, it's a horrible experience for women also. Because they don't know if they're going to get someone who's a complete creep, because dudes have no filter when there's no
locked
risk.
In a basement.
They can't be called on their bullshit to be hey baby, let me lick your asshole.
Ugh, no thank you.
It's dude, fuck off. You're giving dudes such a bad outlook. That's why we have
that for gay guys too. There's a lot of guys who are hey, I want to fuck, or right. Horny looking, and it's all right, dude, calm down.
Yeah, we know. Right. Chandler, you brought up an interesting point earlier about just how if you're good looking, who cares? I just hate, because I've been in a situation where being in a relationship and somebody was trying to weed comics out of my life. and be like,
They were trying to like,
just thought it was like a phase. And I was like, no,
oh God,
this is
See, that's back to the puzzle piece.
yeah.
That person was trying to remove pieces of your puzzle.
Yeah, it's like, listen, like you don't it's not like I started reading comics like a year ago. Like this is like if you look at my DNA code, you'll see like DC, MRL, you know, like I mean it's
not like she was just kind of controlling and was trying to like make who she wanted to be. So I mean, like I think that's like person specific, but I think like in general, it's like even if it's not your thing, if you're gonna be entering a relationship with someone, you gotta kind of like accept it.
right.
So like I'll say for online dating and stuff like that for me, and dating in general, the people I've had more than like a week with, they've all been nerdy people. Coincidentally, I would date someone that's a non-nerd as well, but like I feel like I just don't click with those people as well. And the first person that I ever went on an online date with, I went on like a couple dates with. I was like Paul. I didn't pick up on social cues or anything like that. I have since then learned to just be like, hey, so like, where are we at right now? How are you digging things? Like, is it cool if I do this? Is it cool if I do that? Just like be courteous to the other individual and make sure I'm not like pressuring them into a situation that they don't want to be in or something like that, or just like try and see how things go. And I have been on dates where people aren't nerdy and they'll be like, yeah, I'm not into it. I'm not turning that off too, so that's going to happen occasionally because I lost a bet.
Sure.
So like I was out on a date with a girl that I met at the bar, and we're talking, hitting things off pretty well for the most part. We even kissed at the end of the night, and she like looked at my tattoos and was like, oh, so what are those? And I was like, oh, these are from different anime shows that I really like that for miscellaneous reasons I got tattooed on me. And she's like, oh, well, you can get those removed, right?
Ew.
God.
I did know that, but I'm going to choose not to because I paid a lot of money for them, and I'm not going to pay more to get rid of them. She was like, oh, well.
That was like so passive aggressive.
Right. And
That sucks.
I still made out with her. Anyway, that's just because I'm a bad person. But like I got ghosted by her after. I don't give a shit. But like in general, I've also experienced where it's like, oh, as somebody that, I don't know, we're all nerds. We can kind of like sniff out other nerds. And like, so you'll go out with someone and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm like really into nerd stuff. And just like, okay, cool. What do you like? Like, oh, well, there was this show that I used to watch. It had a guy that had a book that he would write people's names in it and they would die. You'd be like, okay, so you're talking about Death Note and blah, blah, blah. So you probably like this show and this show. Or like you've watched Sailor Moon. Just like, oh, kind of, yeah. It's like they're trying hard to be something that they're not. So,
Well,
which is
so
just
I see them
genuine.
kind of trying to meet you halfway and kind of like, you know.
Well, I get that to a certain point, but I don't know. Trying too hard seems like they're expecting more out of a first date than what they're going to get. And it seems like they're just trying to find someone to fill the void in their life.
Oh, you're coming at it from more like a desperate to connect kind of like thing. Okay.
Right. Not unwilling to accept it sort of thing. More of just, yeah, desperate to connect. And so, like, I'll be like, yeah, you know, I'll go through the date, whatever, and then, I don't know, I feel weird ending dates on, like, hugs or high fives and just being like,
You ended a date on a
Yeah.
high five?
I did one time.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and you missed
I
my
was
story,
really not
Chandler,
into
too.
her.
All right.
Because that's
I was
how.
very not into her.
The sad thing
And,
was, is, like, I mean, when I ended my day on a high five, I was into her, but I just didn't know, like, what to do.
Right. And, I mean, she should pick up on that, too. And like I said, if relationships are everything, the other person can initiate as well.
I mean, I guess my always thing is like, oh, if I try to kiss her, what if she like gets offended and then she like thinks I like try to rape her?
I don't know. I mean, in the context of a date, I think that's not like too unexpected.
Right. And
I don't think that's fair
that.
to
It's
you
just,
to like think that you're gonna like that's gonna be misinterpreted.
Well, you know,
feel-
my fear was always that like, oh wait, was this not a date? No, I thought we were just like getting coffee. Like, oh my god, I misread this.
I've had that, and like I said, I've learned to just be like, hey, so how do you view this right now? Is this a date? And they'll be like, yeah, I thought this was a date. I'd be like, okay, cool, awesome. Just making sure.
No, I just thought you really wanted to know more about Scientology. I'm like,
No.
Ooh, those Freetown levels or whatever.
oh lord. No.
So yeah, dating is like, especially online dating, because like I've seen in profiles where it's like, if you're a nerd, like then don't even bother messaging me.
Really?
Like, well, I've matched with those people too, which is funny. Because my first photo is typically not nerdy. Oh yeah, Paul, your photo's in my dating profile. Just a heads up, it's a good photo.
What?
It's a photo of me, you, and Sam that was taken at Comicopia a while ago of us together.
Oh,
It's a good photo. So just saying that you're in my dating profile.
hey,
I think Chandler, you might be too. I can't remember.
Sweet.
which
You and I embracing each other when I'm in my Pokemon whatever strip boy cosplay.
Lovely. I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I've matched with these people, had conversations, and they'll be like, "Oh, so what are you into?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I love anime," and blah blah blah. And then it'll just
Silence.
be like, "Yeah," because like, fuck it, I'm not gonna hide anything about myself, and I'm going to like fully embrace who I am. I dial it back because I'm not just like, so if you watch like the show, it's like I'm not. I know I'm not one of those
Mouth
nerds
breathing.
which
Yeah.
sucks because like I've told this story several times, like with the nerds not knowing how to date in the nerd community for the most part. I need to find a person that's a normal person that like also likes nerd shit to an extensive degree as well. But like the chick from Kineticon that complimented my tattoo that said she was happy in her pants. I've told you guys this story, right?
tell it
Heinous.
again.
Oh my god.
Okay. So this was my very first Kineticon. I only had 2 tattoos at the time: the Mewtwo tattoo and my Soul Eater tattoo. And I was watching that weird drumming game, the rhythm drumming game that's from Japan. That
Taiko one.
Sure. I'd never seen it before, and I was like super interested. So I was just standing there, arms folded over, watching the game. And this girl comes up to me. She's a larger woman. I'm not attracted to her by like looking at her by default. And she comes up to me in her cosplay with her friend, and my friend Aaron is right next to me, or walks up to me after. I can't completely recall, but he was there at some point for it. So I'm watching the game happen, and she walks up to me, as I've said 3 times already, and she says, "Hey, I really like your tattoo." Like, cool, thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's like really cool. Thank you. Yeah, it like makes me really happy. In my pants.
Yikes.
Oh boy.
And then her and her friend just like start giggling to each other, just like, sorry, we can get a little weird sometimes. And I was like,
Lord.
so like, I don't know, maybe being a bouncer is just my calling, because I was just dead faced, looked at him and just went, don't worry about it, happens to people.
God, the cringe level. It's
yeah.
astronomical.
So like,
It
too damn
really
high.
is.
and like also nerds can take things way too far. Because like my very first anime Boston, there was a woman that named her child Sephiroth.
Yeah, it's too far.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
way too fucking far. And then I'm sure you guys have seen that video that went around like a month or two or a few months ago of the woman and man with their Pokemon themed wedding. That was the cringiest shit.
Oh
too far.
Lord.
Gone too
Like,
far.
honey, I choose you.
Ooh.
We're gonna be the very best. best couple that ever was.
Oh no.
And like just it's so fucking it's the epitome of what I hate of nerd culture. Which, don't get me wrong, it's sweet that they found each other and that they're in love, sure, or whatever. But like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, when Angela and I, when we were planning our wedding, we had said that, that, like, I think the nerdiest it got was naming the tables after the different houses in Game of Thrones, and, like, that was...
Yeah, like,
that was
light theming. Don't go all the way.
Yeah. Right. Oh, God.
So, yeah, I personally, I lay it all out there that I am a nerd. When I first started, I tried to, like, hide my tattoos or not show them, things like that. Dress normal to what people are supposed to dress up like for dates. But at this point, I'm really just, I don't know, I'm maturing in general, I guess, and just accepting more of who I am and embracing who I am to a fault, I guess. I don't know. So when people look at me, they're just like, I don't know, most people don't even notice that they're like anime tattoos because they wouldn't know it anyway. And then the people that do are just like, oh, that's awesome. I did have a funny exchange at Anime Boston last year where like I really should have capitalized on it. I was in cosplay as PP Me, and there was a woman that was dressed up like a Battle Bowser, and she was like, oh, hey, man, that's really rad that, like, you're dressed up like a chick. Like, it's pretty hot. But, like, it was as the convention was closing and she was walking away as she said it. And I was just like, no, I love you. Then I think I ran into her later on at the convention, but I couldn't tell because, like, she wasn't in cosplay. She was cute regardless, but, like, I just... Yeah. When I'm working at the con, I'm so much more oblivious because I have a flirtatious personality when it comes to selling things. Because I'll just be like, you want to buy this book? Like, come on, look at me. You want to buy this book? And I'll do this stupid thing where I'm doing like the Captain Morgan pose where I'm just like putting my foot up on something, leaning in, just being like, I'm basically a soccer coach. Let me tell you, you want to get this book.
I'm like your dad, but younger.
Yeah. I derailed this conversation so horribly.
It's okay.
That's okay.
That's what we're good at.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this conversation got derailed from, hey, everybody, welcome to Wednesday.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a wacky Wednesday.
Classic Wednesday.
Oh, classic. Classic. But I don't know. Yeah. I think
dating's weird and awkward in general. And
that's true.
Just express who you are.
Yep. Nerd or not.
And growing up
weird.
as nerds, we just feel more awkward in society and like focus more on like comics instead of like getting pussy or dick, depending on what you want. Or being inclusive.
Thanks for considering me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's always weird to like, at least for me, like once upon a time, to think that like that like the fate of like me being in a successful relationship or not hindered on the fact that I like did or didn't read comics.
Right, and it's something people shouldn't pressure.
Yeah,
you like what you like. It is what it is. As long as it's not something that's illegal.
Right. Yeah, and then and then on the flip side of that, with meeting Angela in a comic book store, and I think everybody knowing that we're into comics, there's a lot of like I think preconceived notions as well, especially when we were planning our wedding about like Spider-Man gonna be there. It's like,
God,
I'm still an adult.
Just like,
that's so annoying.
Like, no, he's at the after party. Fuck off.
Yeah, or if I'm gonna dress up as Spider-Man, it's like no.
And what's funny too is like you'll see like traditional bros, quote unquote, wear like Marvel t-shirts underneath their tuxedos and be like, hey, let's take this photo. Yeah. So like nerd culture is for sure becoming more and more accepted. It just like maybe not to the degree in which we all like it. But
Yeah,
people
this is
have
a lot
an
more
understanding.
casual fans as opposed to like diehard
Right.
fans.
Right. Do you guys ever feel like because you're, having, kind of been having embraced this culture for so long, do you ever feel like you're accused of being gatekeepers just because of your knowledge?
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I am a cunt.
Oh, you think you are a gatekeeper? Okay, I don't feel like I'm a gatekeeper. I'm actually more. In one way, I love when like people are casual or people are like kind of like trying to get into it because like the more people who like the content that I like means that the more like the industry will make more of it. So I
Right.
want everyone to like it because then you're keeping the culture going.
Right, it's
I don't
good
want
for
to
everybody.
like reject. Yeah, I don't want to like reject people and like make them feel like shit.
Well, I agree as far as that goes and everything, and I have that same outlook. But it's more like I judge people based on like how much they say they're. I won't say it to them specifically or try and make anyone feel bad. But someone could be like, "Oh my god, I like absolutely love comic books like so much." I'd be like, "Okay, so like, what's your favorite? I don't know, X-Men run?" Be like, I really like the movie from like the third one. And I'll just be like, oh well,
The worst
Sure.
one.
it's like somebody saying like, oh, I love Star Wars. Like, oh, what's your favorite one? Episode 2. Like, oh, no, child, no.
Oh, child, no.
That's what I meant as far as that goes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like I'm a judgmental cunt as far as like
Gentlemen.
because people would be like, "Oh my god, I love anime so much." I'll be like, "Okay, cool. So like, what are some of your favorite shows?" Like, "Oh, I really love like Sword Art Online and Naruto, and I watched this one show that's called like Furikuri." Just like
Pedestrian.
What was that? Furikuri? Like, do you mean fully coolly? No. It's like the Japanese way of saying is furikuri, and I'm just like, you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant as far as I'm a cunt.
Okay.
I love when people try to pronounce Naruto as Naruto.
Nah, Rudo.
Like, that's my boy Naruto.
It just sounds like comma Rudo. Like just oh lord, just it's just funny. Like yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
agree.
Peace be
Dating in general sucks. And I said dating in general sucks. Also, Paul, not to pry too much into it, but like when you and Angela got together, it just kind of seemed seamless, right? Like you're just kind of like meant to be for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always, like bumps when just sort of getting to know anybody,
Right.
Or when you're moving in together and trying to figure out your life together. But I think for us, because we knew each other for so long, that there are already kind of like things that were already established about. What we wanted and how we wanted to be treated.
Right.
So I think that even if say our interests were so varied, I think I think it still would have been for the most part been pretty seamless just because of the established nature of the relationship. So like if I was like if she was like really into Sailor Moon and I was a huge fucking Red Sox fan, but we were like friends for so long that I think that because we knew each other so well that we would have made it work kind of despite those
Right.
differences. So but
I mean, yeah, moving with people you like, regardless of if it's relationship or friendship, like or anything like that, it puts a test on individuals.
and actually just taking a moment to consult with one of the contributors on the show, Miss Outlaw Lions. We were
What? I can't see you on
kind
screen.
of like ready for bed right now, so
no, we were sort of just talking about. Sorry. We were
hi guys.
we were just sort of talking about sort of the comic book culture and dating and sort of what situations that can create as far as if say someone who's like really been like into comic books for a long time, but then like trying to like, I guess, woo somebody who isn't into comics, or like vice versa, like or you know, just sort of kind of talking about some of the trials and tribulations of that.
I think what it, at the end of the day, what it always, with any relationship, doesn't matter what you're into, it always comes down to respect. And if your partner doesn't respect your, you know, your passions, then it's not going to work out. And you know, I've seen it up close and personal. And you know, my dad is and has always been a huge collector, and my mom, no, that wasn't her jam. And you know, oftentimes, and I'm not speaking in my instance, because my mom actually really respected my dad's passions, maybe a little too much, but she did. But I've seen in, you know, friends and roommates that I've had that, you know, or with other women whose boyfriends collect and stuff, that they're like, oh yeah, he's into this childish stuff, and they treat it like it's unimportant, like it's just kind of like a mess, and like it's like this like just childish thing that they're into, and that's not fair, and that's not cool, because these same women would turn around and complain about how they don't like they can't wrap their mind around the fact that how come my boyfriend is always giving me shit about all of the skincare products I buy, or about all the clothes I buy. Like, you know, he says I'm just throwing away money, but this is like what I'm really passionate about. And it's like, well, you're also, look at what you're, you know, judging him on. It's like you're judging that person on. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense?
No,
Okay.
absolutely.
I've had a couple of glasses of wine, so
Yeah, it's like everyone's a nerd about something.
and so
kind of thing.
if you respect your partner and you respect their, you know, passions, then it shouldn't really matter what they're into. And with Paul and I think it was just it's funny because we're both super nerds, and it was a seamless transition, but we're both into some very different nerdy things. And so that respect is obvious, you know, like, you know, I used to joke about him because I have figures and he has figures, and my joke was like, oh no, you have toys because they have ball joints, because I was like, my figures are better, you know. And I joke about that all the time, but I like to think that Paul knows that I deeply respect, you know, his passion for his figures. And, you know, I might not like them showing up on bookcases throughout the house randomly, but I do really appreciate his like eye for these things and his uses for these things, because he uses them in his like photography. Definitely check out his Instagram, you guys. It's off the chain. And I love that.
Line of the land.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible the things that he does with these photos and these figures, and it's just so innovative. And I truly respect that. And I hope he understands that I truly respect that. And just like he respects, you know, my shit, because I do have a lot of Sailor Moon shit. I do have a lot of weird, like, Tokidoki shit. And, like, oh my God, my manga. The big one, I think, that kind of surprised you when we first moved in together was my collection of dollar. Well, no. Well, my porn, I do have a lot of porn. I do have a ton of porn. I do. But no, I thought it was my dollar romance novels.
That didn't bother me.
That didn't? Because I remember you looking at them like, really? The very virile Viking? Like, really?
Because I just thought it was like funny.
No, because I do. I have a nice collection of them, and I actually whittled down a ton of them. But I have this rule where I get a romance novel, but it has to be $1. It can't, like, I'm not going to spend $10 on something. No, it has to be like in a dollar bin, and like that's my thing and what I'm into. And so we everybody has these little things that they're into, and it's just about respecting that. And if you can't respect your partner's passions, then chances are you're not fully respecting your partner.
Yeah, because
their passion is really who they are.
Right. I think you just said what I've been trying to say for the past like hour.
Totally.
See, I'm still seeing it as like the puzzle piece thing, because it's like very similar. Because it's like I mentioned that life is basically a puzzle piece that you don't have the picture of four corners make up different parts of it, and you're working toward the centerpiece, which is your happiness.
Yeah.
And like you shouldn't sacrifice your happiness for your partner.
No, and I completely agree with that. And your partner shouldn't expect you to sacrifice that for them.
Right.
I feel like people, say all the time, they're like, oh, relationships are work. Like relationships work. And
right.
And you gotta do the work, you gotta do the time. And I don't think of it like that. Sorry, our dog is like getting into some shit back here. But I don't think of it like that. And it's like, why would I like want to get involved in something that I'm not getting paid for? You know what I mean? Like if it's going to be work, right. And I don't think relationships are like that. It shouldn't feel like work. It's like, yeah, you take the time and you can work through things, but the whole relationship shouldn't feel like that. And it sucks because especially with guys who are dating, well, not just guys, but people who are dating. I mean, I had a roommate who was really put together, college educated, had his degree, and he dressed really well, had a really great job, but he collected comics. And I found out about it because he was keeping that shit secret. And then he started picking my brain because he's like, when and how can I introduce this into my relationship? Because he's like, I'm dating this girl, we've been together for a while, and I'm like, and she doesn't know this about you. And he's like, no, because I haven't had a good track record with trying to integrate this into that. And I'm like, that to me is the most painful thing. That is so painful. Like, how can you be with somebody and even if you're just dating, just to be like, I'm so afraid to share this part of myself. That's what that's what awkward sex should be like, oh God, I got I don't know, I feel like my boobs are kind of weird. Like I'm really afraid of exposing that, that's
I
normal.
misunderstood that part.
But that's normal.
I thought you were going with the slowly integrated and have it be like, oh yeah, this is great, but can you choke me a little?
But even that, little things that, those are things that but even then you are compelled to integrate those things because you want to share that with a person that you like. Right. But something as mundane as comics, it's like, really? If somebody's going to judge you on something like that, it's like, dude, they got to go.
Right.
They got to go. They're not on your level. You got to get somebody on your level.
So I'll say this too. There's something that stuck with me that I'm not going to say whose relationship it is because it's working for them. Mm-hmm. But somebody told me that oh yeah, he introduced me to this anime show when I was really early on in our relationship, when you pretend to be more into stuff than what you actually are. And I was like, whoa, what? No, you don't do that.
Yeah.
That's something you should never do. That's false.
Well, there is an element because I know when I first started dating Paul, when you first start dating somebody and you're really infatuated with them, and we didn't really have a regular dating experience. I should preface this. We were friends for 8 years before we even looked at each other that way. So when we started quote unquote dating, it was really intense. And I was so just in awe of everything about Paul, so he'd be like, oh yeah, he could give me a dirty sock and I would be like, this is amazing, you're an artist. I mean, it didn't matter what he did or what he was into. I was so into it because I just wanted to know everything about him. And I feel like that's pretty truthful when you're starting to be with somebody. And yeah, your interest in things can definitely waver, but to just fake it right out, it's like, ooh, you are shooting yourself in the foot.
It's the choice of words to say when you pretend to be more into something.
Well, it's like when you having sex with somebody new. It's like if you are right out the gate faking orgasms, you're gonna have a bad time. You're not gonna be having good sex with that person because if you can't even convey what you need now, then you guys are just going to be going at it and it's just going to be ugh. It's going to be like sandpaper, man. Don't do it.
Oh.
Pro tip, listeners, always go until both people are satisfied. Don't just try and get you a nut.
Yeah, that's just rude. That's just selfish.
Be considerate.
Be considerate. Jesus. Why do we have
You
to
get
say
more
that?
out of it in the long term.
Why do we have to even say that? Why is that a thing? Why do we have to tell people that?
I don't know.
I don't like this,
That's
guys.
silly.
I don't like that. Gotta take care. It's a I mean, if you want to just get yourself off, then like, man, just go masturbate. Leave the
Yeah,
other person out of it.
exactly.
You don't have to give them a shitty night because
Right.
you're like
Right.
lame.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah.
So, like, it's all too often that, like, dudes just want to be bros and they're just like, yeah, but, like, you got off, right? And it's just like, no, who gives a shit? Like, I was satisfied, whatever. Like, but that's just sex talk. We're talking about dating.
Well, it's all intertwined. It's relationships in general. It's all connected.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, the like I think sex and nerd culture is the next episode.
I mean, can be.
That would be I would have nothing to offer for that episode.
I can't
Sex
say
in
though.
my
Their
nerd culture.
cosplay kinks.
So to bring it back, kind of, I guess the one thing that does bother me, is when people come over to our house, and they automatically assume that my beautiful, amazing figures are Paul's. They're always just like, oh my god, your wife lets you keep these here, and I was like, bitch, motherfucker, those are mine.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Your wife lets you can't get out of my house.
Yeah. Well, I think
fair.
I
because
think you are.
well, I think because they see like they're like like these beautiful women like in these tight outfits. Oh, clearly it's the man's figures. I'm like I know these are all Angela's. Like okay, they're Angela's. I'm like no, really.
Just be like, no, like that Wolverine holding Deadpool's head is mine.
Like not even that. Do you see the room that looks like it belongs to a 9-year-old? Yeah, that's my room.
I'm very proud of my figures. I love those girls, and I call them the girls, and when we move, I have them in a box labeled the girls because they're like very special to me. But like, they're my Kotobukiya, like DC Marvel figures, and I love them. I think they're beautiful. I think they're awesome, and they're cute. And yeah, every person who comes into our apartment just automatically assumes that they're Paul's creepy figures. And I'm like, no, they're my creepy figures.
Well, that's not
Leave him
a dating
alone.
thing. That's more of just like a social, like, oh, like boys act this way, girls act this way. Like, what do you have in the kitchen that you use? It's like stupid shit like that. That it's just social stigmas.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
guess.
just gross.
Stop.
It's just
Not you, just you people.
yeah, no, it's gross. It's
Yeah.
just gross.
Don't do it. Don't be gross. Just be who you are. Team Good Times.
Yes.
Yes, always and forever.
Always and forever.
But yeah, guys, be proud, be happy. I mean,
Fuck
yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're into like, weird mutilated Barbie dolls and stuff, that's kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre level shit, I can guarantee there's somebody else out there who's into it. So, you know what? Do you?
Just don't murder
But still pull it
anyone.
back.
Just don't
little.
murder anybody, please.
Exactly. As long as no one's getting hurt.
As long as nobody's getting hurt.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Unless
matter
they're
how
into
many
it.
safety pins you put in that Barbie doll. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just like your thing.
Don't
you know?
encourage.
I'm sorry.
Fun episode.
Yeah. Now's the time of episode where we talk about what we've been into this week, other than mutilating Barbie dolls.
I've been
I guess
watching
I'll start.
a lot of Dr. Phil.
Go ahead.
What?
That was good.
Doctor Who?
Dr. Phil. I've been watching way too
Dr.
much
Phil.
Dr. Phil.
I've never.
It's obsessive. I can't help myself.
It's funny waking up in the morning. Now you have a problem because
You're watching too much Dr. Phil.
I am watching way too much. But then Paul will come out of the bedroom because it's like 6 a.m. and I got Dr. Phil going. And it comes out and he's like, I gotta see what these people look like.
it's true. I do.
It's like, I have to see what these people. That's the daughter? Oh, I thought that was the mom. Jesus. Like, yeah, he comes out.
That's me for Jerry Springer. Like when the two girls are fighting over some guy, and it's always like the ugliest guy on the planet. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
it
who
is.
you're fighting over on national
I
television.
need to see what these people look like. It's just
Yeah.
really funny.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what I've been into
Yeah.
this week.
Nice. I've a new season of anime started. So Mob Psycho 100 season 2 came out, and the new season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has been great. And there's a few things I just can't recall right now. I've been super into like comedy and binge watching Netflix stuff. The new Killer Mike series on Netflix is really great. It's only like 6 episodes, but it was a lot of fun.
Speaking of binge watching stuff on Netflix, you guys need to watch Lucifer.
Oh yeah,
I fucking love that show. I love that show. It is so stupid. It is so
like a
stupid.
following, yeah.
But I love it, and I can't. I got sucked in, and I love it. So you guys need to watch it.
I mean, it is good.
I'll try. I
It's
just
fun.
rewatched Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Only the Dark Tournament so far.
It's probably the best season.
Realistically, yeah.
Yeah.
But what else? Watch a lot of stand-up comedy, and I've been just fucking marathoning so much Last Podcast on the Left.
Oh yeah. Where are you
Like,
at?
I
Are you going in order or?
No, I'm
Oh, okay.
doing miscellaneous episodes to things that like seem to interest me more.
Got it.
But I am listening to the new episodes as they come out.
Okay, cool.
So I listened all about Mark Twitchell.
I have not listened to Mark Twitchell. I'm still doing the Book of Revelations right now.
Oh, okay. That's a really awesome one. The Mark Twitchell episodes are so fucking good.
Okay. Very
And
excited.
If you do get the chance, watch their live special that they have on their website.
Ooh.
It's $6.66.
Oh,
and
nice.
it's really funny.
Okay.
And if you
Perfect.
tag them on Instagram that you're watching it, then they'll screen cap it and put it in their story.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
that's me.
Chandler?
Paul.
I haven't been doing a lot of reading recently. But I've been listening to podcasts as well.
Fuck yeah.
My main ones right now are Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast, of course. I'm a huge fan. Your Mom's House, which is pretty good too. It's
Yeah?
pretty funny and depraved.
What's
and I
that
also
about?
listen to
Your mama's house. What's that about?
Your Mom's House.
Yeah.
Yeah. You listen to it too?
No, what's it about?
Oh, sorry. It's this comedian couple, Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky, and basically it's like. Yeah, it's like World Star, but they play a bunch of like crazy people on like videos and make fun of them. It's like so funny
That sounds awesome.
and depraved. and I also listen to I started listening to The Baggage Reclaim by Natalie Liu, who's this like English author who like talks about like relationships and kind of like how to like process kind of like not necessarily trauma, but like kind of like how you are in relationships and what to kind of look out for and like how like. Yeah, so it's like really helpful. I would definitely recommend listening to it.
Sounds awesome.
I've also been like watching a little bit of Cloak and Dagger, the
Sorry,
Freeform
Thomas.
show.
Oh yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I liked the first episode of Cloak and Dagger.
Sorry, Domino's
it was
trying to be a
just
part of the
so-
podcast
it's like-
right now.
Wait, that's
Hi,
out now?
Domino.
Yeah. That's her smell.
I didn't even know
sniffing.
Cloak and Dagger was out.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
I watched the first episode of Punisher, but that's about it so far.
the new
Cloak and Dagger's
season.
good.
Yeah. I like the first episode. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know people weren't wild about the first season of Punisher, but it I gave up on it and then I went back to it and I really liked it. But
My
yeah,
only
but
thing is, with the trailer, I've seen Billy's face as Jigsaw, and he doesn't look that fucked up. He's still pretty handsome.
exactly. I'm sure the contract
Like,
thing.
Punisher Warzone was so much fucking cooler with Jigsaw.
Oh yeah, because Jigsaw's a fucking mess.
Yeah, I actually love that movie,
Yeah,
even though
no,
it
it's
didn't do well.
no, I didn't think it was a bad Punisher movie.
That'd be a fun one to review.
Yeah, I still like the idea of doing like reviewing like 90 superhero movies like Blank Man,
Oh my god.
The
Meteor Man.
Forgotten
Blade.
Heroes or whatever we're gonna call it.
Yeah, we really need to do that.
Yeah, let's do it. But
Cool.
say what you've been reading first.
Well, I finally finished the Dan Slott run of Spider-Man because we're reading Spider-Verse and I just kept going. And I liked it because at first I was like, I didn't like the idea of Peter Parker being rich and having a successful company, but I liked it. And I liked the idea of Norman
Sorry. Domino just literally stepped on the computer. All right. Or the keypad. You're not a cat, sweetie. You don't get to do that.
Norman Osborn getting a hold of the Carnage symbiote, becoming the Red Goblin.
Damn.
Oh, that's how that happened.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. And I just finished reading. Jason Aaron is still writing Thor, but I just finished his Jane Foster as Thor.
I'm still not going to read. I still have not read the last volume. I'm like, I don't want to cry, so that's why
It's good. I just read it today. I wish you did, 'cause I would love to talk to you about it.
Okay, I'll read it.
It's good.
So did they explain how she got to the moon?
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
We've been making this joke for years.
I know, and that's all Rob wants.
Yeah, it was. And they actually even talk about it. Towards like the second to last issue.
Let's just end it there. We need Rob for a discussion about that.
All right, I won't say anything then.
Well, let's find out what Domino. What are you reading this week?
Oh my god, I love that,
That
series.
is
It's so good.
amazing.
Yeah.
I was managed like, well, I just finished reading.
I just rubbed my butt on the rug.
Yeah, it's my new book coming out called Boot Scoot and Boogie, all about dragging my ass across the rug.
I moved outside and
I-
then sniffed it.
I always try to sneeze in mommy's face when her mouth is open because I feel
God.
like
Good timing.
we can bond better that way.
All right. I want to help her build up an immune system so she can always take me out.
So thoughtful, Domino.
So good.
And the magic of decluttering your space.
Is that the Marie Kondo?
She loves Marie Kondo.
She does.
Well, I know there's a thing that she has on Netflix now.
Oh yeah.
I haven't watched it at all, but I think she goes to like hoarders' houses and it's just like, this is awesome. Let's clean.
Yes, that's pretty much it. She's freaking adorable.
I'm gonna have to watch it. All
Yeah,
right.
it's good stuff. As always, guys, you know the drill. Check us out on chronospeakeasy.com. I wrote an article recently. It doesn't really count because all I did was just share a video of when I interviewed Mark Brooks a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
I think it still counts.
It's a good interview. If you want to see me awkward and skinny and with a mouthful of metal, then yeah, check it out. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you got some awkward dating nerd stories, we'd love to hear them. If you feel like you want to share. But I'm just gonna put my foot down. I say we do some 90s reviews. So maybe I'll put a bunch. Maybe if you guys want to submit a bunch of movie titles, and then I'll put them into a hat, and then whatever I draw first with the movie that we watch and review.
I'm down.
90s superheroes movies. Let's do it.
I'm so in.
Sweet.
I think we should call it Unsung Heroes.
Ooh. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And enjoy your issues.